So what is going on with those potentially $5,000 DOGE dividend refunds that President Trump and Elon Musk said that they are going to look into? Well, we have some updates as of this morning. I want to break down what's going on, who could potentially be getting up to $5,000 as a refund back from the federal government, and who, unfortunately, could be left out. Again, these are just the talks as of this morning, but according to multiple reports, lawmakers are looking into this and trying to find a solution to give people some of the money that DOGE is able to save. So I'm going to break all this down in just a moment, explain who may get these and who might not. But before I do, all I ask is one thing. Takes 2 seconds. Go ahead, hit that like button if you enjoy these daily updates. And now let's begin. So one of the biggest questions I've been getting over the past couple of weeks is, will I be getting a DOGE dividend check? And honestly, I don't know your current financial situation or what it's been like in the past, but I do know what lawmakers are discussing. Look at this right here. It says Trump DOGE dividend checks. What's the status and who could qualify for the payment if it happens? Well, we are getting more and more updates on this, so I want to be very clear as to who is going to get it. But before I do, we do have an update from DOGE. Look at this right here. This was updated on March 2nd, so just 2 days ago. It says the estimated savings so far is $105 billion, meaning the amount saved per taxpayer is $652.17. It says per taxpayer amount is calculated using the estimate of 161 million individual taxpayers. But what we have heard is that this number would likely only be about 80 million. So you cut that in half, means you would double that. So it would be about a $1,300 payment to taxpayers. Now, here's where we need to understand what is going on. And I want to be the first one to come out and say, I'm not saying this is the best plan. I'm not saying it's the worst plan. But according to reports, this is what lawmakers are discussing. They say these DOGE dividend payments or refunds are essentially that, a refund. These are not stimulus checks. These are in no way meant to stimulate the U.S. economy. It's just to refund taxpayers for overtaxing them over the past several years. That's it. So, according to reports, these payments will only go to those that are net taxpayers. But we do not know to what extent. And here's what I mean. A net taxpayer is somebody that is paying cash to the federal government. Okay? So if you paid, let's say, $1,000 last year, or $2, or you paid $500 million in taxes, doesn't matter. You would be a net taxpayer because you paid into taxes. Now, here's what lawmakers are discussing as of this morning. Okay, I want to be very clear on this. These talks are continuing. They're changing every single day. But as of this morning, according to reports, lawmakers are questioning who would be a net taxpayer. Now, if they are going to give out a $500 DOGE dividend check, the refund, would you have to have paid in $5,000 to receive $5,000? Will it be a one-to-one exchange there? Or if somebody paid in, let's say last year, $500 into their federal income tax, okay, that was their tax liability. If they paid $500, is that the maximum amount that they could get? And people would only be allotted up to $5,000 total? That's what's currently under kind of in this discussion. Here's the other thing. Some people pay state taxes. Could they factor in state tax along with federal taxes? That's also in the discussion. Because some people out of California and New York, they're saying, well, I have a lot of expenses. I paid all this in taxes. I going to get any of it back? Some are saying yes, some are saying no. Now, there's one group that I get a lot of questions from, and obviously I create a lot of videos for this group. These are people on a fixed income. So those that are currently collecting Social Security benefits. Now, for many people on Social Security, they are not going to make more than the $25,000 threshold, which means there's a very good chance they're not even going to file federal taxes. And there's a very good chance that the very small few people on Social Security, again, there's 72 million people that are claiming Social Security benefits every single month. A very small percentage of those people are paying federal taxes at the end of the year. So the majority of Social Security recipients are not net taxpayers. So based off of what we've been hearing, these are people that would not actually get any money from DOGE. Now, here's where things are getting very tricky. According to these same reports, President Trump and Elon Musk, who's kind of running the Department of Government Efficiency, they want the American people to step up, okay, and step forward and tell them where there's fraud, where there's abuse, where there's wasteful spending. So President Trump wants the American people's assistance. But, and this is where some lawmakers are saying that it just doesn't make sense. Why would the American people help DOGE save even more money when they know that themselves might not be getting a check because they were not net taxpayers? That's the problem. So again, and I say, and I've tried to be very clear on this, these are possible payments coming to the American people. At this time, there's still a lot of discussions as to what constitutes a net taxpayer. How much did you have to pay? And will you get that as the maximum amount, or could you get more? Again, we don't know. Will it go over the 2024 tax year, or will it go over 2023 or 2022? I know they did this with stimulus checks. Democrats said, okay, if you made under this amount of money during one of the previous 2 years, you qualify for the check. Well, is that going to be the same case here? That we don't know. So I bring this to your attention because, again, these discussions are being had. They're not very public. And according to one of my sources, the reason why these discussions are not being really publicized and people aren't talking about them is because these checks are, the problem is these would only come if DOGE is successful at trimming about $2 trillion from our federal spending. If we cut $2 trillion in federal spending, that means there's likely mass layoffs. If there are mass layoffs or major changes to certain programs, if these occur, there's going to be some pain along the way. So some lawmakers, according to my source, do not want to come out and publicly say that, yeah, they support this. But when DOGE is successful, and honestly, I believe DOGE will become successful at trimming potentially $2 trillion. My guess is it's going to be anywhere between $1 to $2 trillion that they'll be able to save the federal government and the American taxpayers. But when they do this, that, according to my source, is when these lawmakers will come out and say, okay, we save this amount of money. Now I want to take this percentage and give it back to the American people, to my constituents. So we're going to see what happens moving forward, but that is what we know as of today. So again, if you have any questions whatsoever regarding this potentially $5,000 DOGE dividend refund check, please ask your questions down in the comment section below. But again, thank you guys for watching. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.